listeners, my name is Winnie. I work at Nedbank. I'm currently the head of digital solution innovation, and I lead the innovation studio at Nedbank. You've just put two words together, which are not put together, which is innovation and bureaucracy. Ooh, I don't know how. Let me not get too R-rated here, but let me. It doesn't matter how you look. It just matters what you bring to the table. And I would say that is horrible advice.
Why? What a bloody boss babe.
Yeah. Try so very hard.
Thank you so much for being here with us at Wild and Untamed Podcast.
So excited to be here.
Cool. So just going on that, in a world where perfection is often expected, how have you been able to navigate the imperfect journeys that we are often in?
Ooh, that's a goodie. So I like to think of myself as a recovering perfectionist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think I am lucky and unlucky to be currently in a space that is slightly new to me. So if you know a little bit about my history, I was very much involved in the delivery of some of the things we do at Nedbank. And now I've pivoted into the business. So I have no choice. I am imperfect. I come into a team that knows a whole bunch more than me. I'm very, very humble about it. And I get to showcase imperfection quite well. And I think how I've navigated that is honesty. I say that to my team all the time. I say, I really want to learn from you. I know I've got a lot to offer, but I think I'm learning from you guys. And I think that's the best way to be. Humility and honesty at its best. Yeah.
So you work at a bank. It's quite a big bank.
Is it?
And bank is yes, well known for having great innovation alongside with bureaucracy.
Yeah.
How have you been able to balance the two?
You've just put two words together, which are not put together, which is innovation and bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So you're actually right. So one of the toughest things that we navigate within large organizations is bureaucracy. And I think the big part of what I get to do is to really push innovation in systems like that. Now, if I think of my background from a very, very product design driven innovation space into the business that has a lot of red tape, quite a bit of bureaucracy, I think my foundational knowledge in payments has allowed me to marry those two and innovate in bureaucracy because of my background. I think where I've come from is we build things quite hot and fast.
Yeah.
And I think what bureaucracy is actually doing is creating safety. And I think if we see it as that, if we see it as a safer way to bring things to life, I think then you can navigate easier, knowing that it's in those spaces, it's for safety. And I think for me, that's just a design challenge. How do I innovate in a space that expects safety first? And it's a challenge that I am willing and always ready to meet, really.
We're going to add to that question, though. Innovation is everything about being the first and pioneering and fast forward thinking.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah. So I think that's a brilliant question. So where fintechs have the ease, I guess, to land things quickly, to innovate quite fast, where they have to think 5 years from now, we kind of have to think 10 years from now. This is why I think a lot of banks actually have incredibly innovative people because of how slow things ship. I mean, I look at my team. I have an amazing boss. Her name is Chipo Moshwana. Some of the things she has landed have been futuristic. And some of the things that we see now have come from teams. Well, they landed Apple Pay at Nedbank.
Oh, that's
awesome. And one of the things that I saw is that a lot of what she has to do is predictively land innovations, and that's years from now. So I always think those people are incredibly gifted. I like to think of her as a very intuitive person. And when I see how she's landed things and how our team works, a lot of things that we see come to life through fintechs now, some of that team had brought to life 10 years ago. And that's quite incredible to see that banks, I mean, for us 7 years ago, that's quite incredible to see that very innovative structure existing in that kind of very bureaucratic environment.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, they are the pioneers of pioneers because they don't have the blessing of time. which fintechs do. If I think of something now, as a fintech, I can land that within a month.
How's AI changing things for you?
So it's so funny. In our team, we like to talk about how it's currently a buzzword. And sometimes it actually irritates us to hear people say AI, because a lot of people actually don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of AI, and when I think of banks, and maybe let's talk about bureaucracy again, AI is just it's just data, right?
Yeah.
And it's data handled well and used well.
Organized.
So I actually think that banks have leverage because they have so much data, right? We've been handling millions of clients where some organizations are working with thousands. And that's data, right? AI is good data. Yeah. Good data says structured the more you have, the better. So I'm excited. I think that we as banks have the ability and the potential to really, really harness AI and be thought leaders in that space. Now the question is, will we? And I think we can.
Okay. One thing that you have spoken a lot, and yes, we are friends offline, so we have spoken quite a lot about that, and it's about creating safe places for people to thrive.
Yeah.
I would love to know because that's something that you're passionate about.
No, definitely. We talk about that quite a bit.
So how do you create a safe environment for your team to thrive? And why is now that so important for you? Have you had a bad experience?
Oh, definitely. So I'll say definitely in the bad experience, and also definitely in my passion for safe spaces. So I spent some time looking at environments I've been in and how I managed to navigate what is a safe space. And I think it ended up boiling down for me to one sentence. And that sentence is, can I freely make a mistake in this environment?
Okay, yeah.
And that's a perfect standard to build a safe space. And that's what I lead with. I lead with, can everyone in my team feel exceptionally comfortable to make a mistake? And then I know that I've gotten it right. If I see people making mistakes in my team coming to me and saying I've made a mistake, or making a mistake without even having to say that, I know I've created a great environment. Now that's tough. I think a lot of environments that are like large organizations would tell me that's a horrible way to build a team. But I've tested this. I've seen how the teams that I get to lead, what they land, how they grow, some of the value that they bring into the business. And I can say from firsthand that what I'm doing must be working because people feel safe enough to work hard and safe enough to fail fast. And that's actually what I want.
So when you speak about failing fast or speak about a safe place for people to not get it right, when is it okay to not getting right to now you're getting it wrong too many times?
Yeah.
So how do you balance the two? Because it is a safe place, yet you still want a place of growth.
That's a very, very good question. So I think that we, at Nedbank specifically, we do a really good job at hiring. I think we hire good talent.
Yeah.
Now, outside of that, if you weren't given the space to hire really good talent, how then would you navigate someone who's now failing too many times? And I think that is just management. I think so many times we lean into inheriting bad environments or bad systems for managing people. And I think as a leader, you need to be learning how to be a good manager. So I see that a lot of people tend to get wrapped up into the LinkedIn lifestyle and thought leadership.
Yeah.
And people aren't really focused in what it actually means to be a good manager.
Yeah.
And that's teaching and training and learning about what it means to be a really good manager, whether that is socializing some of the legacies within your team, whether that's teaching the team this is your culture and this is why this culture lands, whether that's seeing at which point a team member needs to be upskilled, whether that's seeing what a person can do and leading them into a space that they really shine in. I think so much of building good teams is purely the very boring bliss of just learning really, really good management skills. And
consistency.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Day, all day.
I mean, and it's really, really good to know what your management skill is. Mine is coaching. So a lot of my relationships with my team would feel like coaching relationships. We work together. We we work together until you're comfortable enough to work on your own. And I think that's always been really good for me. And I found that it is such a nice umbrella for people who are on a huge spectrum of skills, is this ability to really duplicate my DNA through proximity. And I think that solves for a lot of pain down the line.
So I'm going to change tact a little bit. You've spoken a lot about your professional life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to change to parenthood.
Oh, yay.
So you have a kid.
A little bean.
She is awesome.
She's the cutest.
And your husband actually also holds quite a big position in Allen Gray.
Yeah.
So you have both big corporate jobs and you still share parenthood and the responsibilities at home. And I've seen you both walk through the shared parenthood, which is beautiful. But how have you got into that whole, it's not compromising, but it's that collaboration in parenting this beautiful child and still being able to be fully present in the corporate life and at home. So just take me through your decisions that you've made to where you are today.
Oh, Flip, that's a brilliant question.
You say that about every question, though.
Well, I think it's so. I would be very honest with you. If you don't hear me say it, then I don't mean it. So I think what is really, and I'll say why. I want to tell you why I thought it was a brilliant question. So,
hey, did you know that you could join the conversation by joining our WhatsApp communities? No, we're not going to spam you. We might share a few gifts, but what we are going to do is build community together as women in business. So scan and join us today.
So oftentimes a question like that is led with, how as a woman do you navigate that space?
Okay.
And I think it's brilliant that you've immediately put my husband and I at an equal sitting. And that's why I think that's a brilliant question. But to lean into that, the big thing that I found has been pivotal in our careers, and I think it's really helped our careers grow at a healthy pace, is that we really do go 50-50.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to work, then we're going to go 50-50 in everything. And I think that is a tough statement to make in a very patriarchal environment. It's not a tough statement to make in our marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sort of separates how we parent, is that it's never a tough statement, because I think my husband is very aware of how passionate I am about what I do. And actually, I think he jokes about this. He will say he actually cannot live with a me who doesn't get to do what I love to do. And I think that's powerful for someone to be so desperate for the version of you that loves what they do, to do anything for that. And I think vice versa, that's how I am. I see how he is when he's doing what he loves. And I'm so desperate for that person. So what can I do to navigate and make sure that what I bring to the family allows him to do what he does at the best way that he possibly can?
Yeah.
Can only be 50-50. And then I would also say, to be realistic, there are times where a 50-50 goes to an 80-20. And I think we manage, because we have such a good base of equal parenting, I think we're able to navigate those seasons well. I know that in like the month of March, Seth travels a lot, and then it becomes 20-80. I know that I was in America for a bit and I was gone for like 10 days, and then it was literally 20-80. So I think setting a base where we see each other as equals allows for the navigation of more complex environments that change with parenting. But our daughter's, she's too good for us. She just makes parenting so easy. And
she is adorable.
She is. Yeah. She really is the cutest, and just looks up to your daughter so much. Really, it's cute. Really beautiful. Yeah, they're good kids, and blessing to be their parents.
So on that, what do you think is what is the biggest misconception about women in business, in corporates?
Okay, so the biggest misconception. I think it's this, I don't know how, let me not get too R-rated here, but let me stay clean. But I think the biggest misconception is that we don't know how to be compassionate to ourselves. So I say that because there is this illusion that just because we're working hard, somehow we're miserable. And that's absolutely not true. And I'll share, I do talk about my boss so much because I think I am quite inspired by how she does things. And I think I've learned a lot from her about this complexity of doing what you do very well and then also really enjoying it. So, she doesn't take herself too seriously, but she takes what she does seriously. And I try to live that way as well. And I think that's the biggest misconception is that we're miserable. We're not. Everyone, we're really good. We love what we do. We see that we're bringing value to some of the environments and spaces that we get to fill. And that challenges us to find rest and joy in things out of the space.
One thing about you that I've heard over and over and over is the fact that you look up to your boss, and she's a female, a woman. And
I'm very lucky. I'll say this: if you have a female boss, you are very lucky. But not to hate on other bosses out there.
But I think one thing that's awesome is that in like knowing, like I'm a girl, so sometimes we can feel like quite threatened about powerful women.
Yeah,
and I think you're a powerful woman. Yet your boss doesn't seem to be threatened by you.
That's interesting.
And vice versa. Because I think there is a thing of sometimes we don't see collaboration, we see competition.
Yes.
Because we feel like there's not a lot of space for us to thrive.
That's a very
interesting I need to grab and reach instead of actually we can collaborate and we can create space for more. And I think there's a beautiful thing that you do that when you speak so highly of your boss. And you're always speaking highly of her. And it's a great way of just honoring her because, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is interesting because maybe for me it's been a journey. I think most people would be uncomfortable in a situation where either they're in an environment where they're being led by women, they're women, if they don't really trust their abilities or themselves. So I think you have to come really far to be in close proximity with a talented person. I think you yourself have to have such a high resolve about what you bring to the table, who you are, what you can hold in a room. And that resolve needs to be so stringent, so strong that it is not shuttered by another light. And I think that is why women struggle sometimes to be led by women, is because actually our environments make us believe there's only room for one, for one at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I would say that it is such a sad thing to see, but what I would challenge women in environments where it feels like there's only room for one, or that there's only room for one at a time, is to really, really set your roots deep on what you are good at, what you do, what you bring to the table. I've seen that in a lot of the leaders that I've been graced to lead. I had an amazing boss before this one, Christo, who led the insurance digital projects in Nedbank. And he knew what his gifts were, and he understands data and does it well. I know one of the things that I really, really love to do is bring good data to the forefront of what people do. So lean into the things that you do and hold on to them and really grow them. And I think that speaks volumes to then how you handle yourself in environments that would challenge who you think you are in the space.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I love the thing, like there's not just space for one, there's space for you said it like a light. Actually, there's space for a chandelier.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, exactly. There's space for many lights.
Yeah. But I think it's also coming to us in our own sphere of leadership. Can we make space for others?
Yeah.
Because we can be just like, I'm the one and I am the one.
Yeah.
There's going to be a replacement, or it's going to be just me. And I think it's time for us to learn that it's actually there's time to make space,
and
because there is
work
space
together. And there's just so much that can be done in this. And then I also think that we oftentimes get so involved, and I will talk about one being led, but also just being in a collaborative environment. We often get so involved about the things that we do to work every day. And it's like you have this suitcase and you want to take everything to work. You wanted to bring everything to you. And I think yes, we're talented, and I'm learning that. And I'm very blessed to be taking what I've learned within the payment space and be bringing that to nonprofit environments. So I think a lot of what we do is we need to now take what we learn sometimes in these spaces and take them to spaces where we can be creative and be ourselves. I've built an API that really, really helps organizations manage their payments. And that's where I get to be quite creative. Yeah. And that's where I get to see myself
not
in
too
a
creative,
space.
Right?
Not too creative.
Because an API is an API.
Yes, it has its own.
A beginning and an end to its code.
Exactly. But I think that if it's a really great way to build your passions in a thing and have the freedom so that you don't expect all that freedom to come from the spaces that you have to fill within a corporate environment. It removes that pressure. Mm-hmm. And then that environment is actually healthier, I think.
That's really good. Last question, and this is the untamed question.
Oh,
so all of our guests going to have to answer this question.
Okay.
What is the worst advice you've ever got from someone and you considered following?
It doesn't matter how you look. It just matters what you bring to the table. And I would say that is horrible advice.
Why?
Because the first thing people see is you. It's an awful thing. It's an awful thing in a world that can be quite materialistic. But it is the easiest thing to remove as a barrier to entry. Anyone can look professional. And I used to work when I was in consulting. I used to interview hundreds of young people and move them into our associate graduate program. And it was such a heartbreak to see men and women not get a chance just because they didn't look a certain way. And I find that is carried out right to the C-suite. How you look is very important. It is such a basic piece of advice. And I'm glad that I ignored that no one cares how you look. They care about what you bring. People listen about what I bring once they've trusted how I look.
So give me 3 tips. So you've hired many people in students. So give me 3 advices to people that are coming into the graduate programs, because there's quite a few here in South Africa.
I think specifically about that one thing. Yeah. Okay. So I think people think that you have to look spectacular. Yeah. And I would just say, just look neat. Just look neat.
What's neat for you?
Neat for me is one, the version of yourself that you would be comfortable to trust to give money.
Okay, so high heels,
and that's
no
like
high
the
heels.
base. That is like a brilliant way to think about it. It doesn't. If you think, could someone trust to give me money and hold it? Yeah. And I think that's such a nice umbrella term for anything, because I'll give you an example. I wear sneakers to work.
Okay, good.
And I love it. And I think people trust me to hold their money. But I think it has to be comfortable and it needs to be trustworthy. And why I'm saying that is because it can be any version of you that can be trusted. And I think it's a good way for people to lean and be like, oh, actually, with my hair not brushed, will someone trust me to hold their money? Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for the tips.
Yeah.
Thank you for this time. We're going to close.
Very welcome. This was so lovely.
And I'm sure we're going to see you again.
I hope so.
Good.
I'm better the second time round.
Stay slay.